Hey y'all, it's your girl Narosha, aka Cindy, coming to you live from across the pond at the University of Cambridge. I am so excited to be here and to be doing this video. I actually just started my master's today in Education, Globalization, and International Development. It's been a long time coming. I spent 14 days in quarantine, and let me tell y'all, it was not pretty. 1, I miss my mama's food, and 2, I miss my hot sauce, but nevertheless, your girl survived. I'm really excited to be doing this video because it's been something I've had a lot of time to think about, and I've wanted to do it for a while now. I feel like we talk a lot about, our successes and our achievements, but we don't necessarily talk about the path that it took to get there and the challenges and the obstacles that we faced. And let me tell you, there was a lot in my journey. And I want to be open, I want to be honest, I want to be raw about it because I know so many other people that might be going through very similar stories, but just haven't been able to find the resources and the support systems that they needed to keep on pushing. Some of you may know me, some of you may not, but a little brief background. First thing first, my identity is a big part of who I am. It's a big part of my successes, but it's also a big part of my obstacles or my challenges in life. And so I am half Indo-Trinidadian and I am half Tamil Sri Lankan. I was raised in Canada, specifically grew up most of my life basically in Scarborough, specifically in Galloway, a little bit of a tougher neighborhood known to some, but it's what makes us resilient, it's what makes us strong and who we are. One of my biggest things is to remember where you come from and your roots, humble beginnings. It always comes back to your roots. I am a first-generation student. I'm also first-generation immigrant. I come from a single income family, so definitely, things financially, when we talk about access to education, has been a lot tougher. But nevertheless, we persevered, and I'm very grateful for having such loving and caring and committed and hardworking parents that would do everything and anything day and night to make sure I never felt like any dream was too big. So I'm super grateful for that. And being a first-generation student, every success I've had so far has not been mine alone. It is one that is on the backs of and the sacrifices of my ancestors and those that came before me. I'm grateful every day for the privilege that I have to be here physically and to be able to pursue higher education. So a little professional background about me is I actually did my undergrad at Queen's University in global development, and I also minored in gender studies. So I actually came to the UK for a semester abroad in my 3rd year, and I got to specialize in international law and politics, which was amazing. Much of my time at Queen's, if anyone knew me, it was about doing anti-racism work and cultural awareness on campus, a lot of advocacy. Really tried to commit my time to creating inclusive, welcoming, and safe spaces for BIPOC students, which is Black, Indigenous, and people of color. I'm also a spoken word artist. I love the arts. I love using it to communicate and to educate and to empower. So combining the things that I love most, which is supporting marginalized students, because we need support. We need to have mentors, we need visibility, we need representation, and I'm always here for that. Storytelling, I love to tell stories, I love to talk. I'm a Trini, we go on and on and on for days. And multimedia, I love engaging media and not just reading books or articles. I love things like these, like real conversations. So I've decided to launch a 6-part series on my journey to Oxbridge. Withdrawal, rejection, and acceptance. The whole deal. So for me as a first-generation student, and the first in my family to apply to study abroad, especially at an Ivy League school like Oxford and Cambridge, I had very little guidance and resources. I would Google and YouTube everything to see if there were other people that were in my position or that looked like me that had done a similar path or was currently doing what I was trying to do. So I want to make this 6-part series as a resource and a tool for other students that may be coming from marginalized backgrounds with similar aspirations, goals, similar challenges, and obstacles. So the first 3 videos are going to be focused on my story and my personal journey of how I got to where I am today, sitting in my dorm room at the University of Cambridge as a master's graduate student at the Faculty of Education. The first part is going to be how I got into Oxford the first time. Did it while I was in my 4th year of university, which was quite draining on me while being in school and working part-time and doing extracurriculars. And why I withdrew at the last minute, why I decided to reject and withdraw from the University of Oxford. The second part is going to be about how I took my gap year, where I had no job lined up, no master's program lined up, graduated without a plan, something I never thought would happen, and how I turned that into my year, where I developed and I grew so much as a person. I reapplied to Oxford. I applied for the first time to Cambridge. I also applied to funding, and so it was a whole journey while working. And lastly, I'm going to talk about how I chose at the end. I got into both Oxford and Cambridge, had scholarships that, were there for either school, and I decided to go to Cambridge over Oxford. And I know everybody may have their opinions on which school I should have gone to, but for me, it was a very long and thought out process with a lot of pros and cons lists. And it's something I want to share because some of you may be in that position too, where you're going to have to choose between different schools and figure out what you value more and what you want more out of a course, out of a program. So I am here to have that conversation as well as to why I made my choice. So the second half of this series, I'm really excited for. It's going to be a 101 guide that I wish I had come across when I was applying to my master's. The tips and advice are going to be based on what I wish I had known, but also what I found out and did better the second time around when reapplying. So I'm actually going to break it down into 3 parts. So the first one is how to choose your master's program. So, there's so many different programs to choose from, and I actually applied to more than one and ended up choosing the program that I thought fit me the best. But also looking at steps to take prior to applying. So things you should be doing maybe, a year before, or even the summer before. Tips that you may want to, keep in the back of your mind if you're thinking about applying to a master's. Part 2 is going to be, I think, really important, but it's going to be about how to write your personal statement. And this could not just apply to Oxford and Cambridge. I'm sure many other master programs consider personal statements as a significant part of the application. So I'll be giving tips on how to write those, reading a little bit from the ones I wrote. And I'm also going to be giving some tips on how to request reference letters, because that's a big part of your master's. And lastly, I think most importantly, what a lot of people are probably interested in is funding and financing. We know that university is so financially inaccessible, higher education is. So I'm gonna give you all my tips on funding and scholarships, because truth is, I didn't go the first time because I didn't have the money to go. So now here I am, with the financial means to do so. But it was the tips that I got from other people as well as things I discovered on my own. So again, knowledge that I hope that I can share, and hopefully it helps somebody else along the way. Since I've shared my story online, it has brought on an abundance of love and support from so many people around the world. It's honestly so beautiful. I think so many people have expressed that they haven't been able to see people that have talked about those challenges, specifically financial challenges, and how they overcame them. I know when I gave up Oxford the first time, I looked high and low for people on the internet that had done the same thing that I was doing, just so that I could grieve with them too, and we could say, okay, I'm not the only person in this boat. And I couldn't find anybody that was talking about turning down an Ivy League because they couldn't fund it. I always hear about those people that got the scholarships, but you don't hear about the people that didn't. And I really needed to hear it to understand what next steps I should take, because I didn't want my story to end there. My Oxbridge story was not going to end there. It was just getting started. And I'm hoping that this video gives a sense of hope and resilience to students that may be finding themselves in a similar boat where, you're not ready to give up on the dream, but you've had a barrier come in front of you. I live by the quote that difficult doesn't mean impossible. No matter how many obstacles come your way, we stay standing. So keep an eye out for video 1 release coming soon. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I am really excited to be doing this series. I'm so grateful for the platform, but also for the community and for everyone that supported me so far. This is personally the best way I can think of being able to give back at this point in time in my career and in my academic journey. Knowledge is power, and everything I have learned over these past 2 years, it's not any good if I can't share it. And so this is why I am so willing and excited to be able to use my platform to uplift and empower others that may be going through similar situations. I know right now it's application time. I know people are quite stressed because of COVID and not knowing what the year is going to look like or next year. So any kind of tips and resources I can give to help those that are looking forward to applying or thinking about it or in the process, I'm here for it. I look forward to learning from others and hearing about their shared experiences. But yeah, take care, sending lots of love, and always big up yourself.